Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, all goes to our Guru Maharaj. Today, Guru Maharaj is not available to give class. So Sridevi, Hare Sridevi Mataji is going to give class for all of us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 11th chapter, 13 and 14 verses. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for giving your association and taking up this class in the last moment. I'll share my screen. And so you are not able to hear the Kirtan at all. I think I forgot to share the sound.
Yes, in the last few minutes we could.
Oh, okay. Yes, Mataji, you can please take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimati. Please accept my humble obeisances, dear devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our wonderful Guru Parampara. All glories to His Holiness Candramauli Swami, by whose mercy we are all alive and breathing. And all glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sridevi Dasi. I just spoke to Guru Maharaj. His schedule got upset, and therefore he said, please go ahead and do the class. So that's how we are taking up this service in a humble mood of service and surrender. So my most humble request to all of you is to please give me your blessings and be tolerant and merciful of my mistakes. That's my humble plea to all of you. Vancha kalpataribhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So I was just meditating on which verse to speak on, and I was thinking it's nice once in a while to check in and see where we are in the journey of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we think, oh, I've been around 15 years, 20 years, I must be very advanced. We think like that. But how advanced are we really? It's good to check in and see what are the qualities of advanced devotees, what are the ways they conduct themselves, and what is the behavior that is pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So then I chose this verse because Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee of the Lord, and he was already very well situated. But because his brother got killed, he got so angry and he got so upset that he started killing all the yakshas one by one. And Swayambhuva Manu personally came to stop his grandson, saying, my dear son, why are you doing like this? This is not befitting you. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that the Lord protects his pure devotee, because sometimes even a pure devotee may make a mistake like Dhruva Maharaj did, but the Lord protects him and gives him good advice. So this is what Swayambhuva Manu is telling Dhruva Maharaj. So I chose these two verses, actually several verses before and after are also very beautiful. You can read them out, but let me begin with Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nasta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the verse is number 12 and maybe I said 13 and 14. Did I say that? Yes, 13 and 14. So let's read a few verses even before. It's very beautiful to read these verses. So I would like to read from 10 onwards and then we'll go to 12 and 13.
So we'll read only translations or purports to Mataji?
Yeah, just translations, please. Yeah, text 10. One should not accept the body as the self, and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 11. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Text number 12. Because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised. Why have you undertaken such an abominable task? Text 13. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Text 14. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Haribol. So we'll zoom into text 13 and 14. We'll read the Sanskrit and the translations, and then we'll read the purport. So it goes like this. Titikshaya karunaya maitriya chakila jantushu samatvena cha sarvatma bhagavan samprasidati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Purport. It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. There are 3 stages of devotional life. In the lowest stage, a devotee is simply concerned with the deity in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion according to rules and regulations. In the second stage, the devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord, his relationship with fellow devotees, his relationship with persons who are innocent, and his relationship with persons who are envious. Sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone by constitutional position is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, a devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. Different living entities appear in different forms of dress, but according to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, a learned person sees all living entities equally. Such treatment by the devotee is very much appreciated by the Supreme Lord. It is therefore said that a saintly person is always tolerant and merciful. He is a friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and he is peaceful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee. Now we'll go to text 14. We'll read that and the purport, and then we'll try to churn the nectar by discussing the purport a little bit. So text number 14. Samprasanne bhagavati purusha prakritair gunai vimukto jivanur mukto brahma nirvanam richati. Translation. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Purport. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. By such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental state where he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. The word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Outside of Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses, but even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification. Jnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculations and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking they can achieve different mystic perfections. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. Haribo! Can't wait to get there, isn't it? So, I was thinking about this particular verse in which we are encouraged to advance in devotional life. We are encouraged to acquire the qualities of a devotee. As the last line says, these are some of the good qualities of a devotee. So what is the meaning of advancing in spiritual life? Does it mean getting a big position, being known as temple commander, temple president, zonal acharya, guru, this thing, that thing? No, real advancement means one is clearing out all the anarthas in one's heart. One is getting cleaned up from within. One is getting rid of all the dirty things that contaminate one's heart and make us act in ways that are not good for us, not good for others. So it's a very good way to check in. How are we doing in our spiritual life, to check in with our behavior towards others? How are we doing? So here it is said, the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage, that means Madhyamadhikari, means to act in accordance with this verse. There are 3 stages of devotional life. One is the Kanishta Adhikari stage, one is the Madhyam Adhikari stage, and one is the Uttam Adhikari stage. In the neophyte stage, we are very much in the neophyte stage. Neophyte means to fight. So the neophyte is simply concerned with what? I'm doing my deity worship, I'm going to the temple, I'm doing my seva, I don't look right, I don't look left, I don't interact with all these other people because I am great. And these people, they're all foolish people, they don't know anything, they don't know how to behave. But I know, because I know my Lord and my Lord knows me, and that's enough for me. So neophyte is very, very neophyte, obviously, because he thinks he is great. and all the others, they're still learning things. So he may be very worshipful of the Lord, he very strictly follows the rules and regulations, but he doesn't have relationship with others of friendship, of mercifulness, of tolerance, of equality, of being kind, of being, in the mood of a well-wisher, of being in the mood of a servant, which is who ultimately we really are. So in the neophyte stage, we argue with others, we quarrel with others, we take offense very easily, we are super sensitive about everything. We think that we are the only ones, who have any sensitivity, like others don't have any sensitivity. We act as though, we are all in all and everybody else is not doing so great. But this is neophyte stage, and we have to rise above that by acquiring these good qualities of tolerance, mercifulness, equality, and friendship. Now, second stage is the Madhyamadikari stage. Here, the devotee who's at Madhyamadikari stage, he very carefully avoids the envious non-devotees. He preaches to the innocent. He is very compassionate towards those who are ignorant of the philosophy, who are still learning, who still don't know anything. He tries to give them Krishna, he or she. When I say he, I mean both. Please note that I have nothing against she preachers. I have nothing against the Vaishnavis of our movement. It's just for convenience that I'm saying he, but it means also she. So he or she is very compassionate, very caring, friendly towards everyone. They don't turn up their nose, at others and say, oh, I'm very advanced devotee, so I will not interact with this one. Oh, that devotee, they don't know anything. I'm not going to talk with them. They just come up with some weird ideas all the time. I have no time for these people. No, he's very merciful, even to the foolish, to the weirdos, to the crazies, to the lazies, to all the people whom we in our neophyte stage, we think, I don't want to deal with that person. I don't want to deal with that person. But they are very merciful towards everyone. And they treat everyone with friendship, with equality. The Uttamadhikari, on the other hand, he thinks, I am not devotee at all and everyone else is very great. Complete opposite of neophyte. That is, of course, a highly exalted stage of devotion, very advanced stage of devotion. We cannot even understand the Uttamadhikari's mind and heart. He's so dear, he or she again, is so dear to the Lord because their hearts are completely purified and they are completely in love with the Lord. And their only, every moment, they're eating, breathing, sleeping, everything is to worship the Lord, to serve the Lord with great love and devotion. So that is the Uttamadhikari. So here it is said, Madhyamadhikari, preacher devotee, is meant to show mercy to innocent persons whom he can elevate to devotional service. So therefore, he very diligently tries to fan the spark. Srila Prabhupada said, whenever I see even a little spark, he was so kind to even the drunken fellow who came in with a roll of toilet paper, saying, see the spirit soul, he wants to serve. Everybody was aghast. There was a drunk who just staggered into the room where Prabhupada was giving lecture and placed several toilet paper rolls and left. Everybody didn't know what to do, but Prabhupada was very gracious, very silently. He observed the whole thing and he said, spirit soul, he wants to serve. So merciful. So Srila Prabhupada said, whenever I see even a little spark, I try to fan it. This is how even the Madhyamadhikari thinks. He thinks even if someone shows little interest in Krishna, I will try to fan the spark and make it into a fire. He's very merciful. He's very tolerant. He's very patient. He's very kind. And he tries to fan the spark and awaken that person's innate love of God, which is there in all living entities in everyone's heart. So this is his mercy. And as for treatment of this devotee who are his equals, he maintains friendship with them. He's kind. He overlooks small little irritations and he sees only the good in others. And he tries to elevate everybody to a higher stage of Krishna consciousness. Because he understands everyone is just a child of God, a precious, wonderful, amazing, unique, special creation of Krishna. And therefore, he tries to fan the spark. So such devotees are very much appreciated by the Lord. Why? Because they are trying to bring everyone closer to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, everyone should become a preacher. Our movement is for preaching. and nobody is not capable of reaching. Everyone knows something about Krishna, and we should speak about Krishna to others. Believe me, people are desperate for Krishna consciousness. They don't know it, but they are. Everyone is a spirit soul, and he or she is longing for perfect happiness and perfect love. And that comes only in our relationship with Krishna. So therefore, devotee always is trying to connect all the conditioned fallen souls back to their original loving relationship with Krishna. George Harrison, in his preface to the book, Krishna book that he sponsored, he said, everyone is looking for Krishna. Everyone is looking for love. They don't know it, but they are. He wrote like that. So saintly people, they're very tolerant, merciful, friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and always peaceful. And sometimes people become very envious of such a person. So they make him their enemy, but he never thinks anyone to be an enemy. He's equal to all, even to his enemies, he is very merciful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee. So where we are in relationship to this, we can take a rain check. We are a long way from all these good qualities, but it is helpful to read these verses to see, maybe I can become more friendly and kind towards others. Maybe I should learn to be more tolerant and not super sensitive about my own self. Let me try to be sensitive towards others' needs. Let me try to give more of myself to others and not be standoffish or say I have no time and I'm very busy. These are very common things for, I'm speaking of myself, I'm always like, oh, I have no time. I have to do this. I have this, I have that, I have that. But this is not very pleasing to the Lord, because we're disregarding another jiva soul who may be in need of companionship, of friendship, of kindness. Just a kind word, a smile, a greeting goes a long way towards helping others. Don't discount that. So we must always be cognizant first of where we are, and always trying to acquire some of these good qualities which will satisfy the Lord so much. Because remember, sadachar is more important than prachar. I may know a lot of verses, I may have lots of grasp of scripture and knowledge, but if I do not treat other living entities with compassion, with kindness, my behavior is not very pleasing to the Lord, and He doesn't appreciate so much my great knowledge. His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said, people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. So our caring actually will awaken them more and more to Krishna consciousness, more than how many others, how many, I'm getting distracted here. How much we know is not so important, and how much we care. That's the point I'm trying to make. We want to be very kind and loving towards everyone. Every living entity is a child of God and deserves to be treated with love, with respect, with kindness, with compassion, with empathy, with understanding. These qualities are very important for our spiritual life, and they will endear us to Krishna. So now we will go to the second part, which is text number 14. What happens when we acquire these good qualities? Here's the good news. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Sorry, at this point, actually, I wanted to quote in the previous verse, purport, I wanted us to look very quickly at Srimad Bhagavatam 4834.
Shall I go into that?
Srimati,
Yes,
would you kindly, because this gives a very clear-cut direction about what I just spoke, about how we should behave towards our superiors, towards our peers, and then towards our juniors. Translation, we'll go straight to the translation, and I'll just read out the translation.
Fourth count of which verse, Mataji?
Chapter 8, verse number 34. 4:8:34.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Every man should act like this. When he meets a person more qualified than himself, he should be very pleased. When he meets someone less qualified than himself, he should be compassionate towards him. And when he meets someone equal to himself, he should make friendship with him. In this way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of this material world. It's a short purport, so I'll just read it out. So beautiful. So really nice purport. Generally, when we find someone more qualified than ourselves, we become envious of him. When we find someone less qualified, we deride him. And when we find someone equal, we become very proud of our activities. These are the causes of all material tribulations. The great sage Narad therefore advised that the devotee should act perfectly. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Instead of being oppressive to a less qualified man, one should be compassionate towards him just to raise him to the proper standard. And when one meets an equal, instead of being proud of one's own activities before him, one should treat him as a friend. One should also have compassion for the people in general who are suffering due to forgetfulness of Krishna. These important functions will make one happy within this material world. See, you want to be happy, isn't it? So now let's go to the next verse, which is verse 14, where we can actually see how to reach that point where we will have unlimited spiritual bliss. Such a beautiful verse. That is text number 14. Let me read the translation again. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Purport. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. By such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. The Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage wherein he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. This is that famous verse. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kamshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. We'll look at it a little later. It's Bhagavad Gita 18:54. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please him. Here, it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one immediately attains to the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. The word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, the devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Outside of Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses. But even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification. Jnanis by subtle activities or mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis try to satisfy themselves by thinking they can achieve different distinct perfections. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya declares, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashant. And only devotee is Shant. Why? Because he is not trying for anything for himself. He only wants to please the Lord. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the processes of the karmis, jnanis, and yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. Jai Haribol. This is mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our Gurudev that he has given us the pathway by which we can reach this point. Isn't that wonderful? Shrimati, would you open up 1854 of Bhagavad Gita? Because that's such a beautiful verse that helps us to understand Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma verse. 1854, yes. The Sanskrit is Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kanchati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So I will just read one part of this particular purport because 1854 is a very long purport and I've given you enough purports now. See, let's go to the second paragraph. In the material concept of life, when one works for sense gratification, there is misery. But in the absolute world, when one is engaged in pure devotional service, there is no misery. The devotee in Krishna consciousness has nothing for which to lament or desire. Since God is full, a living entity who is engaged in God's service in Krishna consciousness becomes also full in himself. He is just like a river cleansed of all dirty water. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. He does not lament for any material loss or aspire for gain because he is full in the service of the Lord. See, this is the secret. Slowly, slowly, we must become fully absorbed in devotional service. Right now, we are, unsteady, mixed devotees. Sometimes our mind wanders towards sense gratification, then we drag it back. But the pure devotee is fully absorbed in devotional service to the Lord. He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that is ephemeral. Yahi samsarsha jab hoga. The man of intelligence does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. Instead, he looks for permanent happiness. And that comes in our relationship with Krishna, in our devotional service to Krishna. So this is the Brahma Bhuta stage. He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, therefore eternally a servant. He does not see in the material world someone is higher, someone lower. Higher and lower positions are ephemeral. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. And a devotee has nothing to do with ephemeral appearances or disappearances. For him, stone and gold are of equal value. This is the Brahma Bhuta stage, and this stage is attained very easily by the pure devotee. So, slowly, slowly, we want to purify ourselves. And guess what? Lord Chaitanya has made it so easy. Let's look at the last few lines. The world is miserable for a materially infected person, but for a devotee, the entire world is as good as Vaikuntha or the spiritual sky. The highest personality in this material universe is no more significant than an ant for a devotee. Such a stage can be achieved by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, who preached pure devotional service in this age by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol. So thank you all for listening so patiently. I will now open up for questions, for comments, for corrections, or for reflections.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for nicely explaining these two verses in the Bhagavatam. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dear devotees,
Thank you for kindly giving me an opportunity to serve all of you. Thank you for kindly tolerating me. You were going to get Guru Maharaj and now you've got a poor substitute. What can I do?
No problem.
Sorry about that.
Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. And please turn on your cameras if possible. Thank you. The best substitute, Kanchanamji Prabhuji is saying. Devotees, any questions? Yes, Brajalasmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam.
Dhanavad Pranam, Braja Vilasini. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, Gurudev.
Accept whatever all the Prabhupada and Gurudev. Yeah, Mataji, very, very wonderful class. Can you hear me good, Mataji? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you, Mataji.
Okay. Mataji, very, very wonderful class.
Your voice is going down again.
Question about...
Keep your phone near to you, Mataji.
Yeah, I'm doing this. Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
When you come closer, it's good.
Yeah,
Oh, we lost her.
Oh, Krishna. Okay. So in the meanwhile, Mataji comes back. Mataji, when we are talking about neophytes and Madhyamadikari and Uttamadikari, no, not that one, sorry. So when we are talking about these new devotees and our equals and our seniors, so in this stage, how to behave, Mataji, with the equals? Yeah, definitely, if somebody is doing more service other than others, so we'll definitely feel proud, or we'll definitely try to say that we are doing much more than you. Like that, some attitude will come in the middle, and while dealing with those and while those devotees. So how to maintaining friendship is very difficult. It's like a thin line between the pride and the friendship. So how to distinguish that, Mataji?
So that is why it is said that, we should not feel so proud of our activities, because remember that any activity is happening only by the mercy of the Lord. We are helplessly dependent every moment on His mercy. We cannot make the next sound if Krishna doesn't desire it to happen. We cannot breathe or take the next breath if Krishna doesn't desire it to happen. Not even one blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. We are so helplessly at His mercy. Where's the question of taking pride in our activities? If we are capable of doing something, it is because Krishna is giving that ability. Krishna says, I am ability in man. So if we are capable of doing something, it is because Krishna is empowering that person to do that thing. So if we see someone doing a lot of services, we should actually feel, wow, this is so fantastic. I also want to become like that. I am right at this moment suffering from so many varieties of desire for sense gratification. I'm so attached to my own plan, my own desires. I'm not surrendered at all. I'm just, hung up with my own little, comfort zone. I'm not doing anything. But look at this devotee. He's doing so. He or she is doing so nicely. I do want to become like that. What is his secret? Let me find out. We should become eager. And if we are actually in that position where we are doing, maybe, by Krishna's mercy, we are doing a lot of service, then we should be more humble. We should become like the tree which is fully laden with fruit, which bends lower and lower and lower. That means we become, see how the devotee advances, it is only through humility. Unless we truly become humble, Krishna is not going to give us more service or more good qualities or anything. Because he knows it will go to my head and I'll become puffed up and all. So Krishna doesn't give all those, good qualities or more service and all that. So if we are wanting really to advance in devotional service, we must become very humble, very tolerant, very patient, very determined to carry out the order of Gurudev. Then there is some chance for me to actually make some advancement and actually try to do some service. Right now, I'm very neophyte. I'm full of faults. I'm full of anarthas. I'm unsteady. I'm wobbling. I'm not able to get up in time for doing anything. I overeat or undereat or oversleep or undersleep. I mean, all kinds of things right now are going on. So we are still struggling just to become steady. So better to be humble and pray for the mercy of the Lord to advance in our devotional service. And if we really are in that enviable position where we are doing a lot of service, you will find such devotees are really and truly so humble, so self-effacing, so cognizant that it is only by the mercy of Gurudev and Lord that I'm able to do something. So they have no pride. If you observe them, you will see they really don't have any pride in them. So we should try to follow in the footsteps of the great souls. Prabhupada said, Mahajano yena gata sapanta, follow in the footsteps of big personalities. So hopefully that answered your question. I don't know if
yes, yeah.
Okay.
But sometimes we see that senior devotees like in the temple or they are doing service since so long, some particular services, and they don't talk nicely sometimes. Sometimes new people, they feel fear to go near them and ask anything. And suppose if any new person comes to the service, they always feel fearful before them to mingle with them because they don't talk nicely. I don't know why, but yeah, it should make you humble as years pass by, as you said, but it's like sometimes it's opposite. Mataji, we see that's very sad.
That is true. I absolutely can endorse that because I've experienced a lot like that myself. It is true that sometimes some devotees who have been there around for a long time, they're very territorial. They are very possessive of their service. They don't like to give to others, or they like to, be in a mood of, I'm controlling all this and you do exactly as I say. Otherwise, you're not welcome, like that. But this is their misfortune that they are not, purifying their heart, because if we are really chanting, our heart should become softer and softer and softer, not harder and harder and harder. So they may be doing their services, sorry to say this, but are they really doing Cheto Darpana Marjanam? Because remember, devotional service is not a mechanical thing where, you just move your hands and legs and do a lot of stuff. It is actually the process of clearing our hearts of anarthas. That is the most important thing. You may or may not be doing a lot of service, but what is more important is our heart should be becoming clean. Cheto Darpana Marjanam should be happening. Then we can say, see, I'll tell you a beautiful story that I just heard today. Kanak Das was an outcast. But Udupi Sri Krishna turned around 180 degrees because Kanak Das was not allowed in the temple and he was only allowed to peer from one small hole in the back of the temple. But Krishna turned around to give him his darshan. He was so dear to the Lord. He was so dear to his spiritual master also. And the others who were Brahmanas, they were very envious of Kanak Das. So one day the Guru wanted to teach all these people who were envious of Kanak Das a lesson. He gave all of them a copper pot. He said, go to the river bank, fill water and come back. So all the devotees scurried off, all the disciples scurried off, and they all came back. And each one, they had shone the pot very nicely. It was gleaming and they had brought water. So the Gurudev took each pot, shining pot. Okay. Another one, shining pot, took it away. Another one, shining beautifully, put it away. Kanak Das came and his pot was not shining. So the other disciples were snickering. Look at this fellow, Shudra fellow. He has no intelligence. He didn't even know how to shine the pot. But when his Gurudev took the pot, he was so happy. He gazed into that pot of water and he was so happy. He embraced Kanak Das. Everyone is like, what? The pot is not even shining. We put so much effort to shine the pot and the water, put the water and everything. Then the Gurudev, he showed the pot, he showed the inside of the pot, and Kanakdas had made the inside shining and pure and clean so that the water will be clean and pure. So then the Gurudev told, I'm not bothered with externals. I want to see how clean you are inside. So Krishna is not impressed with, big position, big achievements. He is impressed with our pure, clean heart that wants to serve him under all circumstances. Remember Dukhi, that little woman who was filling the water pots along the Ganga, and Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with her. She was not trying for anything. She just was sincerely serving. And the Lord became so happy. He said, we are going to call her Sukhi from today, and awarded her pure devotional service. So it is not the big guns who, it's not that I have to become GBC, I have to become a big sannyasi, then only I'll win the favor of the Lord. I can be just a humble, simple homemaker and achieve the favor of the Lord by my sincere service. Really. Krishna sees the sincerity. He doesn't care for material position. So don't worry. We can only pray for these people, we can only humbly pray to the Lord, my dear Lord, please give them to your mercy, because such people generally, they are not happy. They are miserable inside, Because if you have these attitudes, imagine how much anxiety accompanies it. I have to control, I have to manipulate, I have to be in place, I have to, like so much anxiety for that person just to hold on to that material position, that position. It's a lot of anxiety.
So they'll have fear of losing their services? They were tightly...
Eating, sleeping and defense. Most of us can control eating, mating, sleeping, but defense, we are very territorial about things. So this is again something we have to work on. Defense is again an animal propensity. So unless we purify our heart and understand this is not my service that I should not share with others. One day I'll be dead and gone, and that service somebody else will take. So we must understand that we are just here temporarily. What big position when this and that we can have? Nothing. So we can just pray for these people and pray for the mercy of the Lord to soften their hearts, to make them blissful, happy devotees, because they're missing the boat, isn't it?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Yeah. So you become a happy, blissful devotee and be an example.
Thank you. Brajulasmi Mataji, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I think Srimati Mataji read my mind. She asked same question, question I was gonna ask. So Mataji, yeah, you answer very, very, very wonderfully answered. How to, so like I was thinking like how to behave with them. Like we should be keep apart with them, those kind of devotees, or like make some distance with the devotees, or we should like go for it and like behave with a friendly, or how should we react with them if they react like with us like differently? How to react with them?
It is said that one should make friendship with people who are peaceful, who are like-minded, who are jolly, who are joyful, and if possible, who are a little more advanced than us so that we can learn something. And one should avoid envious, angry, toxic people, because they are going to only put out negative energy sooner or later. Even if they're sweet for a few minutes, the instability in their nature will come out, and they will snap at us or attack us or something. So look at the reputation of that person, watch carefully, or listen to how people feel about them before you make friendship with anyone. And if you have to absolutely interact, just be very respectful, polite, do the needful, as Prabhupada said. But don't open your heart. Don't allow yourself to become vulnerable. We cannot afford to have our heart hurt, because that will, leave us feeling very much traumatized for many hours because we are sensitive. Devotees are sensitive. So you have to guard your heart and give it to only those who are capable of receiving it as a precious gift and honoring it, and who will be willing to apologize in case they mess up or in case they make some mistake or they hurt you or disappoint you. They should immediately be willing to acknowledge and say, I'm so sorry, I never meant to do that. then you can trust that person because they're genuinely trying to become better devotees. But someone who is puffed up, who are, fixed in their own ideas, who are not humble, not apologetic, wow, there's work to be done there. And in their defense, we have to say that in the early days of ISKCON, we never gave much attention, love, care. Devotees were just pushed into positions and made to work hard, to do things. There was no attention paid for devotee care. So many of them have not had their needs met. And there are big, big wounds in their hearts. Many of them are traumatized by what happened to them. Sometimes they were thrown out of the temple saying, we have no money, now you go and get a job, then brought back. I mean, all kinds of things happened to them. Some were, we have to understand that everybody has a story, and try to be compassionate, try to be respectful, but don't allow yourself to get entangled. Protect your devotional creeper, protect your heart.
Thank you, Mataji.
And what, Mataji, if like you have a close relation with some like very close relation, and that's the person who's talking about other devotee and envious about other devotees. So how to deal with a close person?
If you have a good friendship with them and they trust you, then very lovingly we can say, my dear God sister, I love you so much and I want you to be happy. I can see that, you're not feeling good about this person, that person, but it's better not to criticize other people. Let's look at ourselves and try to do better. And if there's some real serious issue, then we can have some mediation so that you can be at peace about this, whatever has happened, whatever trauma has taken place, and then you can move forward in your bhakti. But don't keep on talking bad about people, because slowly people will shun you, and I don't want you to become isolated, friendless. I want to be your friend, but let's work through these things. How can I be helpful to you? I see that you're suffering, but the way we are trying to get relief from that suffering may actually be detrimental for us. So being very compassionate, very loving, but also honest and frank, because hey, as God family, I would want Srimati and Brajavilasini and Scarlett and everybody to tell me if I'm messing up, isn't it? That's part of love for each other. So if Srimati finds I'm always messing up, which I'm always messing up, poor Srimati is very tolerant of me. But one day she's going to tell me, Mataji, get your act together. So I'm trying hard to get my act together for the hosting seva. Praying for some hosting Shakti from her. So, at one point, people will lose patience with us if we keep on persisting in our anarthas. So we have to consciously work on them. So if I'm very critical by nature, I'm very fault-finding by nature, I won't have many friends. And if you have someone like that, then we have to be very compassionate towards them, but lovingly try to uplift them to a higher stage of functioning, of behavior. Maybe they need therapy. What's wrong with getting therapy and just sorting yourself out? It's like going to a doctor for fever and cold. We go to a doctor and get pills, isn't it? So why not go and get some therapy and, get clear of that, forgive that person. Forgiveness is very powerful and it sets us free. So if something is coming up again and again for that person, it means they have not healed from that and they need to get help.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much,
We can't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Scarlett, Mataji.
Question.
Mataji, you're on mute, Mataji. Scarlett, Mataji.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. Hare Krishna, and thank you for wonderful class. And you do every time, you do the wonderful class and wonderful answer.
Gurudev's mercy on me.
It is like that. I am new. I have been in movement very, very new, but I read everything that I have purchased, and I'm very, very, I try to live by it, to try to practice by what it is, it says. For instance, in Nectar of Devotion, there are so many layers of how to do, how to behave, and so on. And I want to live by it. But then I see, when I come to the place, let's say in a temple, I see the behavior which is exactly opposite of what it says in the Shastras, in Nectar of Devotion. For instance, don't ever criticize your senior devotees in front of the deities. This is very strongly said. But then someone criticized, some young criticize exactly that, do exactly opposite what it says in Nectar of Devotion. You understand what I mean? And it turns out that the authority has given the permission to this person, to this young person, giving him the role to always criticize this elderly devotee, who are very good devotee. I promise you, they are so pure, so you don't believe. But anyway, it's not my place to anything, judge or not to judge. I leave it to be. But what I mean, when I see this, then I don't want to go to the temple. Then I don't want to be there. Then I'd rather to be home, read home, learn home, chant, do everything I can, and have my little how to say, altar there where I go and show my obedience, and I have my own Tulsi plant, which I take care of very well, and so on and so on. I do it at home because I know there is nothing that will stop me or frighten me or taking me away from what I have learned. You understand what I mean? I have come from the country that the authority in the name of religion have done so many ugly things that is not hide. You know that in Iran, the people who are doing things in Iran and having power, they are doing in the name of God, in the name of religion. So I have come from that background. For me, of course, I see these things very quickly. Of course, it's not that I'm coming new person and I think, oh, this is not good. Oh, no. Absolutely not. But I go after what the teaching is. I learn from every lecture about how to behave, and I read in the Sastra. Look at here how many books I have in front of me now. Look at here. I have all this from morning. I read a lot. You see?
Okay,
So
what is your question, Sridevi? What is your question, please?
Is that really the Krishna who has given this person right to teach the younger devotee to go and criticize, do exactly opposite of what it says in Shastra? Is it Krishna which is giving the permission? Because you say it's Krishna who gives the permission. Is this also Krishna's permission to do opposite of the Shastra?
What do you think?
I don't think it's that. Absolutely not. No, I don't think that. I don't think that Krishna, in one hand, says that you have to behave this way in front of deity. You have to respect. You have to do this way. You have to look from the foot up, and so on and so on. And then in another way, make someone go to do exactly opposite of what I have said in the Shastra.
So they're making a choice. We have a choice. We can follow the Shastra or we can reject the Shastra. That's up to us. So if someone is doing something wrong, that's on them.
But then I don't understand. You just said that it's Krishna who was giving right to this person. make this person to
Krishna
be.
gives us free will. Krishna gives us free will. He doesn't interfere with our free will. You know, people go around and they murder people saying God made me do it. How can we blame God for our actions? You know, we are in control of, at least sane people, we are in control of our reactions. So we cannot blame Krishna for someone going and murdering people, killing people, criticizing people, finding fault with people. We cannot say, oh, Krishna is in her heart and Krishna is dictating to her. We are not robots or automatons. We have free will. And so therefore, if a person is choosing to behave like that, then there will be a reaction for that and they will have to pay. Nobody gets away with anything. We all have to pay the price for everything that we do. So if this person is criticizing in front of the deities, then actually the authorities or her mentor or whoever is her Gurudev or whoever is, you know, in charge of her or him, that person should actually go up to that young person, because you say that is a young person, and say, my dear sir, please know that this is not good for your spiritual life. Please desist from these activities because it will harm your Bhakti Lata Bij, and Krishna will only tolerate it for so long. After some time, they will become so critical and say something so bad that Krishna will kick them out of the association of devotees. That has happened. So it is actually putting yourself in danger zone to constantly criticize others, because Krishna doesn't like us to find fault, criticize other people. This is not, you know, something that pleases the Lord. So after some time, we'll become so critical. We'll say, oh, this ISKCON is like this. Oh, these devotees are like that. And slowly we will push ourselves out by our own acts. But that is actually Krishna kicking you out. So this person is, you know, in a very dangerous situation. Someone should be compassionate enough and you know, try to help that person. And if they absolutely will not listen, well, you know, maybe in the next lifetime they will learn their lesson. And because once you get kicked out of the association of devotees, life is really hellish. It's very difficult to survive out there in the world. So, I mean, it's a very tough world outside. To come in the association of devotees is a great, great blessing. So we should value it, honor it, and try to rectify ourselves, not find fault with others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Supriya Mataji. Sridevi Mataji, you have time, right? To take more questions.
Yeah, I do have time. Actually, Supriya has asked a question in the chat, but I think by mistake she sent it only to me instead of to everyone.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, Supriya, is that right, or
No,
you want?
This is different question, Mataji.
Okay. What about the question that you have sent to me in the chat? Should I address that?
Yeah.
Okay. Supriya says, Mataji, who is the real enemy of one's devotional service? And the answer to that is, it is lust only, O Arjuna, born of the material modes, which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. Shrimati, you want to pull up that verse for us? It's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse chapter 3.
Mataji, what I really mean, this lust is from our side, right? So like, if I desire something, my desires, that is my real enemy. But no, this question I should put something like, say any person, from the person perspective. Like if you are dealing with someone, which kind of person would be a real enemy for our devotional service?
Wait, I'm sorry. If you're dealing with persons, who is an enemy?
Is there can anyone else disturb us from our devotional service? And if yes, what kind of person that can be?
There are no material impediments to devotional service. None. You know, when when Prahlad was told by his father, Vishnu, he's my enemy. He said, my dear father, there is no enemy except your own mind. So in devotional service, in devotional life, no one is our enemy. Everyone is actually our friend. Even the so-called enemy is actually my friend. Because by criticizing me or by finding fault in me, he's giving me a chance to remove my false ego. You know, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he was regularly heckled and criticized by one person. Whenever he would give discourses, one person would always show up over there and he would start criticizing. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj would patiently listen to everything. And his disciples would be fuming, you know, wow, this person really, you know, he's so blasphemous, he's so critical of our Gurudev. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj would say nothing. He would just quietly listen. And when the others would get angry, he would just pacify them, says, don't say anything. Finally, that person died. He was not very old, but he died. And then the disciples came running and told Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, that criticizer, that heckler, that blasphemer, he's dead. And they were like very happy finally that Krishna taught him a lesson, took him out. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj started crying. He said, oh, my best well-wisher has died. So the disciples were aghast. Like, what is this? He says, yes, he kept me in line. He, by criticizing me, by finding fault, he kept my false ego in check. Of course, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was a pure devotee, a Vaikuntha man, as Srila Prabhupada said. But he was teaching us by his own example. You know, that how much false ego we have, how much pride we have. We are just very neophytes still. So if someone is finding fault with us and all, they are actually doing a favor. There's a nugget of truth in that, and we should try to find that gold in that criticism and work on it.
Mataji, another question is, we learn all these things that we have to be merciful, tolerant, compassionate, all these things, okay? And just like Scarlett Mataji said that we read so much of a scripture, but we see different behavior. And sometimes we become sensitive to that behavior, and we may lash out on those people as a reaction. So I just wanted to ask, like, how to inculcate those teachings as our second nature, like how to be a second nature, tolerant, merciful. Yes, it seems good on the text, you know, we have to be tolerant, merciful, but then second time, once the class is over, we are going to forget all these things.
No. The philosophy is not for preaching. The philosophy is for practicing. We have to practice these qualities. So the next time around, there's a provoking situation, we must really pray beforehand that these things will happen again. My dear Lord, please help me to be merciful. Please help me to be tolerant. Please help me to be patient. After all, this person is also struggling with the modes of material nature. This person is also a jiva soul. He or she is also trying only just to be happy in this material world. Perhaps they're not doing it in the right way, but help me to be merciful. Help me to be tolerant. Because, hey, we have to tolerate so many things at the time of death. Krishna is giving us practice in all these small things. What are we going to do at the time of death? When there's so much to tolerate. So all these people are my friends. They're helping me to become tolerant. They're helping me to understand that I am not in control. I'm simply at the mercy of you, my Lord. Whatever you dish out, I have to accept it and try to do my best. See all these people as Krishna's agents, come to teach you the path of pure devotional service.
Mataji, you gave very good class, and I think you should continue giving such classes at least sometimes once or twice a week.
You are very kind. You are very merciful to me, and I'm very grateful for your encouragement of my class. But I am also just neophyte. I also struggle with a lot of anarthas. I am also very unsteady. My faith is also weak. So you pray for me to become a good devotee, and please Gurudev and all of you.
You are far better than me, Mataji.
No, there is no such thing. You are better in something else. You know, all of us have come together as a God family because each of us has some strength and also some areas of challenge. Maybe you're a very good painter or a very good computer technician or a very good, I don't know what are your talents and skills, which I may have no idea about. You're only seeing one side of me, that is I'm giving class. But inside the home, you should come and see how I am. Srimati knows. Always forgetting everything, absent-minded, foolish, disorganized, unsystematic, nightmare for anybody living with me. Now you look at Shilpa, Brajavilasini, she's very organized. She's very systematic because she's a working girl and she's a nursing assistant, very responsible. I can see from what she sends me, how systematic, how organized. I'm learning from her. I think to myself when she sends me her sadhana chart, wow, I wish I could be so regulated. I wish I could be so, systematic. So each of us is learning something from the other, we are all together as a God family to learn from each other. So you have some areas of strength that I could learn from if I get a chance, So one faceted thing, you may think, oh, Sridevi Mataji is giving class, but what Sridevi Mataji is like at other times, only those who know me know me. I'm surviving in bhakti because Srimati is tolerant to me.
No, Mataji.
Yeah.
All good matches, Matsi.
Yeah, it
Maharaj
is
is
Guru
tolerating all
Maharaj's
of us.
mercy that I have said tolerant God family.
Where are you, Sridevi Mataji? Which place?
I'm right now in Mayapur.
Okay, but otherwise, what's your
When I was
native?
in 1 year, and then Guru Maharaj sent me here in Mayapur Dham. Guru Maharaj has just arrived. In fact, yeah, he's just probably arrived and settling in Mayapur. He just came. He was in Kolkata yesterday. Dheeraj Prabhu took care of Guru Maharaj very nicely. And Guru Maharaj came in time for dinner. He asked for pumpkin soup. He had some methi parathas. And then he said he was very tired. And so he decided to take rest. He said, I'll come tomorrow to the temple and give class. So today morning class, Guru Maharaj gave the class there. And then he left after breakfast. But his schedule got upset. He was supposed to leave at 11 and reach here by at least 2, 3 like that and be in time for the class. But he left only very late, almost at 1. And so therefore he couldn't come in time to give the class.
So you have decided to permanently settle here in Mayapur?
It is my Guru Maharaj's order. I have no choice. Yes, but I would also like to settle. I want to settle in Mayapur Dham because it is a promotion, for a fool like me to come to Mayapur, which is a, holy Dham. Lord Chaitanya came here and started the Sankirtan movement. So I'm very grateful to Gurudev for kicking me out of America and sending me here. Gurudev Guru Kripa Kori Garavana Majhe Guru Mediya Chosta Agyadi Namori E Braje Boshi Harinam Karoga Harinam Karoga Gurudev Guru Kripa Kori Garavana Majhe Guru Mediya Chosta. The meaning is, oh Gurudev, you're so merciful to this poor fool. You're so merciful. You have made me so fortunate that you have given me a place in Gaudadesh, Godruma. That means Mayapur. And you have given me this order, Agya Dilo More. You have told me now sit down here and do Harinam. This is the meaning of this song. So I always try to remember. But then the rest of the song says, but I have no spiritual qualifications. I have had so many bad habits in my youth and in my childhood that I'm not capable of doing what you want me to do. So Gurudev, please give me your mercy so that I may fulfill your order. So this is my condition.
So Mataji, right now you are in staying in a hotel or you?
No. I have an apartment. You're welcome to come and stay here with me. I have a very big place. Actually, one Mataji, in fact, she's knocking on the door. 1 second. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I had someone at the door, so I had to interrupt this session. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm in Mayapur Dham. We have two more people with questions.
Yeah.
So, Supriya, if you have further questions, you can always ask me later. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
And you're welcome to come to Mayapur Dham.
So, Scarlett Mataji, you want to ask anything?
Yes, you mentioned that one have choice. We have choice to behave in a certain way.
Yes.
If let us say, just as an example, if the temple authority ask a young devotee that to do a certain thing, but this young devotee knows it's wrong, it's really wrong, should this devotee still obey the temple president and do the wrong thing, or should he say, no, I'm not going to do it?
Sounds really strange.
you have-
Why would the temple authority ask a young devotee to do something wrong? I mean, if it's breaking the regulative principles, obviously you're going to say, no way, I'm not going to do it. But wrong, I mean, how do you judge what is wrong? When Srila Prabhupada was asked this question, he said, you follow the temple authority and they will rectify themselves. They will correct themselves. So you may think something is wrong. They may say, oh, go out on book distribution, and you think it is wrong. But you think it is wrong. Temple authority may not think it is wrong to send someone out on book distribution. Or if they have made a mistake, then Krishna in their heart will give them the chance to correct and rectify themselves. So we follow the authority, we follow, because remember, the temple authority is actually in place of the spiritual master. So unless they're really weirded out and they're breaking the regulative principles, why would you go against the temple authority? Why would you think they're saying something is wrong, asking you to do something wrong? Can you explain that?
Yes. For instance, the wrong is that in Shastra book says you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't criticize a senior devotee in front of deities. You shouldn't fight with the senior devotee in front of deities. But the same temple authorities tell this young man, you should do it. You should criticize and scream at him and fight with him and say that this person shouldn't do that, should do that in front of deities.
First and foremost, one should criticize any devotee, not just senior devotee. One shouldn't fight with anyone in front of the deities. That's
exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, but what proof do you have that the temple authorities are telling this devotee to indulge in this behavior? Do you have proof when you say this? This is a very serious allegation. So do you have proof that they are telling him to do all these things?
Yes. Yes, there is a proof.
I've never come across a situation.
What I mean, it's okay. I just want to know if this young person have choice to not to do it, or the young person have to do it.
Well, we all have choices. I don't know whether this young person has any shelter. What is his situation? Is he being protected by his Gurudev? Is he having a mentor? Is he having someone to help him, on the path of bhakti? What is going on? We always act under authority. So if the authority is telling him to criticize, that doesn't sound like a proper spiritual authority, because no spiritual authority will deliberately tell a devotee to do something wrong. How is that even possible? I don't understand how a temple president or whoever you claim is the spiritual authority is telling the young man to criticize, fight, argue with the senior devotee in front of the deities. No spiritual authority will tell you to do the wrong thing. Then they're not spiritual authority.
Thank you. My next question is, I walk with the walker, with the help, I have to have walker. So if I decide to move to India, to Mayapur, for instance, is it possible for me to still use my walker, or it's difficult to live there with this ability?
Well, India, I mean, people walk with walkers, that's not a problem. But the facilities for those who are physically challenged and, mentally challenged are not so well developed. I must say that quite honestly. The other day I was seeing one person struggling to get into the temple because there was no ramp. So they are not yet come around to the idea that we should also be welcoming of all, types of people. Those who are physically challenged, we need wheelchairs, then how will they get into temple? All these are still being, developed. So some things may be difficult, but some things may be so wonderful. You will be so happy to be in India. This is a very big decision. And only Guru Maharaj can guide you properly on taking the right decision for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rajmandal Prabhuji, you want to go ahead? You raised your hand.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Please accept my
Krishna.
humble Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Shri Shri Guru Maharaj and Gauranga.
Please
Maya, I
accept
just
mine.
want
All glories to Srila Prabhupada,
Oh.
all glories to our Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Maya, I just wanted to say that there was a point that you made, and Supriya Mataji also. Yes, nothing material can ever destroy one's spiritual path. And also, please forgive me if I haven't got my video on. I'm just out seeing patients and I'm driving. Yes, nothing can really destroy one's spiritual path or devotion. However, as you know, when we have, and the point you were making prior to that question, when we are causing Vaishnav aparad, that destroys pretty much everything. That
Yes.
aparad of a Vaishnava is like a mad elephant in your house. That's
Yes.
the effect it has on one's spiritual path and their journey. So, like you were mentioning, like Vaishnava aparad is such a, it's really, really bad. I don't like it myself at all. I really frown upon it, and we should treat each other with the utmost respect and love and attention to detail, especially the Vaishnavas who are the creepers, they really are, and they forever live. And it's really, really, really it will actually destroy your spiritual life if you do something like this. So we are, of course, human beings. We are full of mistakes, and if this happens, you really should look at yourself and go to that individual and beg their mercy and tell them. Sometimes, it's nice to say that even if they don't know you offended them, but if you can have some ability to understand this point, then you should be able to approach that individual and actually be honest and say, I was speaking harshly of you, it was bad, and I felt really rotten inside, so I'm approaching you, and pay your dandavat and ask for them for forgiveness.
Yes, we should be absolutely like beggars. If we have offended a Vaishnava, we should fall at their feet, take the dust of their lotus feet and beg for their merciful forgiveness. Because remember, even Krishna cannot forgive you for Vaishnava. Only the Krishna can forgive you. And if he doesn't forgive, generally Vaishnavas are very compassionate and they will immediately forgive because, we all make mistakes, we all mess up. So, but that doesn't mean that we should go on doing aparadha and go on falling at people's feet. We should try to rectify ourselves. But you have made a very important point. We should become very humble and absolutely remorseful and repentant and fall at the feet of the Vaishnava and beg for their mercy if we have made an offense. Very good point.
Yes, Mataji. I'm sure we've seen it in our lifetimes, and it leaves a very distasteful. It's very distasteful. It's not something that I can personally tolerate. Have I done it? Yes. Have I done it? Yes. Have I felt bad? Yes. And have I rectified it? Yes.
Yes. We should, try to move towards exemplary Vaishnava behavior And at the same time, we should be very tolerant and merciful, because people will mess up, people will hurt us, people will disappoint us. And so we should try to be very merciful and not take offense, but we should be very careful not to give offense to others. Yes.
Agreed, Mataji. And also, His Holiness Radhanath Swami speaks of this quite often, that actually all living entities, we need to be careful of not offending, because we're representing Srila Prabhupada, we're representing Guru Nitai, and
Yes.
so
Yes.
we should really, it's not just Vaishnavas, because sometimes we can fall under that trap, can't we? Where,
Yes.
oh, well, I won't offend any Vaishnavas, and I will treat this Mataji with respect, and this Prabhuji, and so on and so forth. But sometimes you step outside of into the real world, and you might have a change of mood or heart towards.
Yes, we have to be so careful, because we are devotees at the bus station, we are devotees in the shopping mall, we are devotees at the railway station, we are devotees in shopping lines, at every moment we are devotees. So our exemplary behavior is not just in the temple, Haribol, Prabhu, and then outside I go and have rage and I'm rude to customers or rude to other people. That's not a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is always trying to serve the Lord in every situation. You put a Vaishnava in any place, and he or she, Srila Prabhupada said, just as a wheat husking machine, you put it in heaven or you put it in hell, it will go on husking the wheat. Similarly, a Vaishnava is always trying to serve the Lord in any circumstance, in any situation, and especially in the outside world, because the world is watching. We really must try our level best to be on our guard and try to be in the mode of goodness, and be patient, tolerant, kind, merciful, and all those good qualities. And that takes practice, because we will be provoked, we will come across situation, and if we lose it, then immediately we must humbly ask for forgiveness. We must say, I'm so sorry, I'm very stressed, I've missed 2 flights, I've lost my baggage, I really didn't mean to push you or shove you or be mean to you, but I'm under so much stress. Immediately the action, if a wrong action is taken, it should be corrected immediately. Well said, Prabhu. Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, that's okay, Mataji. I just it came to my mind, and I just thought, yeah, this is a really important point. I really wanted to just bring it to the table. And what I tend to do, just to finish, I got to see a patient now. But what I tend to do is, when I'm outside in the real world, try to imagine people wearing tilak. It works.
Immediately we are on our best behavior. Yes, very nice meditation. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
It works.
It works.
Yeah, give it a go.
Okay.
Give it a go. It really works.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice.
Dandavat.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna. Please offer my obeisances to your wonderful mother, and please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine, Mataji. I will speak to my mother today.
Hari Bol.
Haribol, Maya. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so any more questions?
I must leave now, anytime.
Thank you, ma'am.
Haribol.
So it's past 7 o'clock,
Yes,
Srimati.
Mataji. Yeah.
With your humble permission, may I request that we quit for today?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much.
very much
Thank
for
you, dear
this.
devotees, for participating. We'll end up the call here. Tomorrow, the call class is with ISKCON Harrisburg devotees. And the verse number is Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 14th chapter, 37 verse, 1.14.37. Guru Maharaj, hopefully Guru Maharaj will give class. Thank you all so much once again. Mataji, thank you so much for your association and time. Very wonderful class. I'll end up here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo satkaram pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
Thank you very much.
Serve you all through this Srimad Bhagavatam class, and
Thank you
please
so
pray
much.
for me to do better. Thank you, Srimati, for your tolerance and patience with me.
No, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.